Today we are going on a little afternoon adventure. Gonna check out a point on the Ma Ha Tuak Ridge. There's a couple different names I've seen for it so far. One called Maricopa Peak, one called Salt Benchmark. Either way, it is the high point of the Ma Ha Tuak Range or Ridge line in South Mountain Park. Here we are at the first parking lot for South Mountain San Juan Gate. This is the option that you would most likely choose for this adventure if you aren't here in the first weekend of the month. Otherwise, in the first week of the month, this gate is open and you can drive to the other end of the Alta Trail, which is one of the trails we'll be taking. Here is the Ma Ha Tuak Ridge. It is opposite the longer ridge of South Mountain. You can see there's South Mountain itself. This is Goat Hill. We'll be starting on the road. The official designation to get to the Alta Trail is to take the road a half mile up. But what we're actually going to do is we're just going to hop on the Bajata Trail, which is right here, and that takes us to the same spot. So you can see right here at right from the parking lot, there's a trail junction for Bajata. We'll hop on here, and then this will take us to the start of the Alta Trail. We are approaching the end of our time on the Bajata Trail. The Bajata Trail does continue to the left here. You can see this intersection indicates that. It has all Phoenix Parks. All trails are very well marked. So now, we're just going to go through this little wash and back up to the paved road. There's our start of Alta, and you can see it pretty much heads straight up. We're about half mile into the Alta Trail. Shaping up to be a pretty nice sunset as usual in the Phoenix area. The Alta Trail looks pretty good so far. It's apparently one of the older trails in South Mountain Park, built using inmate labor and CCC labor. So far a pretty clean trail though. It'll change though once we have to start heading off trail to get to the peak. We gained this sub-ridge, and I think we're very shortly going to be gaining the main ridge of the Ma Ha Tuak Range. And I'll say now, I am probably mispronouncing that, and I apologize for all of the times that I have and will mispronounce that during this trip report. Here we are, just about to gain the main ridge of the Ma Ha Tuak Range, and our view is getting very wide open now. You can see all the way through the entire valley. You can see straight across the way there's Pastua and Camelback. Looking back again, there's South Mountain and Goat Rock. We'll be working our way a little bit more along this ridge line, up to that prominent peak right up there. I've been contemplating which way I want to actually take to the summit of Maricopa Peak. There's a few different options that I was contemplating. The main one could be just head up straight up this ridge line here and take the ridge all the way up. Sorry for the poor lighting right now. Another option though that I was looking at based off of the topo map is to follow the trail all along to that north ridge there, and right at the apex of that trail on the north ridge, it looks like it might be a slightly more gradual and slightly easier off-trail segment. And quite something I consider to be quite unlikely. I actually just ran into a lady who said she was just up there just now. She said she also went up the North Ridge but then she came down this east ridge back down to the trail here because it seemed faster to her while she was up there. I think I might either do the same thing or just go up and down the north ridge, but for now I think the plan is to stick to the north ridge plan. I think if you were going to go east ridge, then this would be a good point to hop up on the ridge right here at trail post A 2.07. Here we are just about at the apex of the trail around the north ridgeline of Maricopa Peak, and I think that this probably is the best way to get up to the peak. You can see this trail goes a little bit further around another corner here, and right when we turn that corner we'll just hop right on that ridge, and it's, from here at least, it looks like a pretty simple ridge walk right up the hill. We're at the very northernmost apex of this curve here on the northern ridge, and there's Phoenix as your frame of reference. Now we're making a U-turn back, and as you can see, this trail actually follows the ridgeline for quite an appreciable amount. It'll make our job a little bit easier, and I think we're gonna hop off the trail and onto that ridgeline right about at this little outcrop here, this first one coming up. Now that I'm looking at it, we may actually just keep following the trail for a little bit longer, because I think this does kind of tuck right into the corner of a little drainage or some sort on the other corner of this ridge. So maybe we'll go take a look, and if it doesn't pan out, we can always come back to this point. So right now we're still gaining elevation on the trail part, and I suppose I'd rather gain elevation while I can on a maintained trail before leaving the trail, where it'll be a tad harder. The off-trail section was never going to be too difficult today. All right, so here is the summit right above us, right up there, and you can see right about now the trail starts going down again. So this looks like a fairly common path, actually. It looks like a lot of people have had the same idea as me. So this will be our point of entry for this north ridge. It should be a pretty short and easy ridge walk from here up to the top. It's been a pretty straightforward ridge walk up to this point. A couple cacti here that you gotta skirt around, but for the most part it's pretty open. A little bit loose in sections, but again, not too bad as long as you got good footwear. It is slightly bushy, so I'm not sure I would recommend this during peak snake time, but hopefully I'll be okay on this first day of December. It looks slightly ominous coming from below. The summit block might be technical, but so far I haven't even used my hands, so I think it should be okay for most people. And here we are, cresting the summit of Maricopa Peak. Oh, maybe not. Oh, false summit. Guys, we're giving us a little bit of a chorus. Here we are at potentially one of the tops of Maricopa Peak or Salt Benchmark or Ma Ha Tuak Peak, whatever we might call it. pretty fantastic view. We're coming up on sunset right over the high point of the Sierra Estrellas, right over there. Sierra Estrella Range there. Here's a nice long San Juan Valley that contains the road that is closed all except for the first weekend of the month. There's Goat Rock over there, so you can probably see, you probably can't see here, but there's the parking lot way down at the other end of the San Juan Valley, and then you can see South Mountain over there, and nice view of Phoenix and the surrounding areas. Tried to do another pass for a benchmark, but still just looked at the reference mark. But the reference mark does indeed give the name of salt, so I guess that's what we're going to call it. But maybe we can call it what we want. There again is the wonderful sunset over the Sierra Estrellas. Of course, that means I better hurry up and get back down. A little bit to go. Total distance was 3.6 miles to the top, with a gain of 1,377 feet. That gets us up here to salt benchmark Maricopa Peak. That is at an elevation of 2,555 feet with a prominence of 930 feet. As I mentioned before, I think I'm inclined to go back down the way I came, because it was really only about 8 minutes of off-trail travel, and I think that'll be the quickest way back instead of trying to navigate down this ridgeline back to the further point on the trail. And I would probably recommend that to anyone else coming after me, as it seems to be the preferred way of most people before me. So that is the top. Now we're heading down. One last shot. These hedgehog cacti in the sunset. See you back at the bottom. Alright, we're just finishing up. There's one last look at the summit of where we just were. Nice little prominent peak. Fun little adventure on a Tuesday afternoon. Here we are back at the parking lot. Beautiful night. There's the glowing lights of the radio towers of South Mountain. Would like to express my appreciation for all of those that have come before me on this. All of the members of the Peakbagger community and other trip report websites giving good information on how to get up there. Map builders, trail builders, and of course the original stewards of this land, peoples and tribes of the Gila River